Welcome back to the Checkered Flags and Money Bags podcast. As always, I am your host, Phil Craig. This week, we go to the road course in Austin, Circuit of the Americas. I am putting this podcast out a day early this week. The reason being, on the road courses, once they go to practice and the leaders go out there and set the fastest time, probably going to be Tyler Reddick. If he goes out there and beats the field by a half a second, his odds are getting slashed in half. So you're going to want to get your bets in before practice starts Saturday morning. And so that's why I'm putting this out on Friday night instead of Saturday night after practice. Okay, before we get into COTA any further, let's go back for a second and take a look at the race from last week at Bristol Motor Speedway. What an awesome race that was. We finally got some tire wear, got the cars off throttle through a lot of the race, and creating a lot of passing, and just finally a good short track race with the next gen car, something we've been wanting to see for quite a while. So great week. If you're following along with my bets and trying out some of these, hopefully you picked the right ones. Had an 83% profit on the day. Massive day as far as compared to the other races so far this year. So what we hit on, had Hamlin to win. We had Elliott top 10, which I could not believe they were giving us even odds there. Larson top 5, under 13.5 winning car number. Yeah, that was the only one that could have really destroyed that for me. Would have been Gibbs, but Truex was there at the end and took the lead, and that kind of made me worry a little bit, but I still thought that Hamlin was going to be able to come back and get the victory the way he did. Had a few head-to-heads that hit. LaJoie over Dillon, Chastain over Busch, Buescher over Reddick. The one that really gave me the big jump on the weekend was Eckes in the truck race, the top 3 finish. I had a bonus bet from a deposit that I was able to use on that one. Really wanted to put him in at for the win at plus 600, but with Kyle Busch in there, I decided to play it safe. Went with the top 3 at plus 175 and hit on that. So big win for last week. Got me almost back to even for the season total. So we're looking for another big win, big weekend here at COTA, so that we can get on the positive side for the season and really get going. Okay, so COTA, 3.4 mile road course. That is a long course. All right, this is only the 3rd year that they're racing here at this track, so we do not have a lot of data to go off of. But the races have been pretty consistent with some of the better drivers finishing in that top 10, top 5 even. One big thing to note so far before going into this race. So in the past years, first of all, the first year they raced there was, it was a monsoon. So I'm not even looking at those stats. I'm just throwing those out because when you're racing like that, that's not a real race. Yes, Elliott did win, and Elliott is one of the best road courses, if not the best in the series. But when you're racing in the rain, they have wet tires, they have windshield wipers that they use for that. That's not what that was designed for. It's designed for a damp track so that they can get out there before it's completely dry with that rain tire. But it wasn't designed for what they used it for, and it was a disaster of a race. So anyways, I'm not looking at any stats from that race and factoring it in for this week. I'm just going off the last 2 years. That was the 2 years that they were in the next gen car anyway. So So that's what we're looking at for this week. So the big thing to note, as I was saying, is that in the past couple of years with the dry track, we have seen on restarts where somebody will cut down to the inside, dive bomb into turn one. Obviously no chance that they're going to be able to make that corner, and they just wipe out whoever's there. They don't care. They just bounce off them. They keep going, knocks 2, 3, 4 other cars out of contention, and they go cruising on by stealing probably 5, 6, 7 spots, whatever it is. The last year, I think we had 3 green, white, checkered finishes, and before they were able to finally finish the race, and then that was just a disaster. It took out a bunch of good cars that were going to have good finishes. And so now what they have done is they have changed the restart zone. So coming off the last turn, right before you come back to the start-finish line, that is now where the restart zone is going to be. They did this at Indy Road Course last year, and it completely solved the issue. We had clean restarts. Nobody was taking out a bunch of cars, going into turn one. So hopefully we get the same thing at COTA, because I think this is a great course. I'm not a big road course guy. I prefer the ovals, of course. But this is a pretty cool course, and I do like watching this race. Okay, so in the past, if you have been a fan for quite a few years, we used to have at the road courses a bunch of what they called road course ringers. They would bring in guys from that were used to running road courses in other series, usually sports car series, not too many IndyCar really, but they would guys that weren't running for a championship, didn't have a chance at a shot. They would pull those guys out of the car, and they would put a what they called a road course ringer in to help get the team some more owners points, so that they could get a bigger check, get a bigger payout at the end of the season. That's really not the case anymore. We don't really see it. There's too many of these guys, the regulars, that are really good, and so we don't really see the road course ringers coming in anymore. On top of that, they never really had a whole lot of success. So what we see this week, as far as the non-regulars, is Kamui Kobayashi. He ran, what race was it? I think it might have been I think he ran in the Chicago street race last year. And actually, you know what? Indy is where I remember him running. I don't know if he ran the street race or not, but Indy, I do remember him running in that race, and he got knocked around quite a bit. The guys did not treat him well. They spun him around a few times. The other 2 guys that we have are guys that have run in the Cup Series before. Obviously, AJ Allmendinger, we're all very familiar with, very good road course racer. And then the newcomer, Shane Van Gisbergen, our Chicago Street Race winner from last year, coming out of the supercars from Australia. Running full-time in the Xfinity Series this year. He has 7 races that he is running in the Cup Series. COTA is going to be one of them. So those are your only 3 so-called road course ringers that are going to be in the race this weekend. Okay, now as I was saying, there's a lot of these guys that are really good at road courses, your regular guys now. Some of those names, obviously, Tyler Reddick, your winner from last year, smoked the field. It wasn't even really close once he got back up to the front. Chase Elliott, we know, has won a lot of road courses, and for quite a few years there was the odds-on favorite every single time we went to a road course. Other guys, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Busher, McDowell, Chastain, Kyle Busch, and even Joey Logano. These guys all have had some good results. A lot of top 5s, top 10s. throughout the road courses in the past, several years. Not all of them, however, have had the greatest results here at COTA. There are different styles of road courses, and so some road courses will fit a driver's style better than others. For instance, Joey Logano has not had good results here at COTA. Last 2 years, finished 28th and 31st. So I would fade him as far as any kind of head-to-head bets that you can find. And for sure, I would not be placing any type of top 5, top 10s, or even to win on him, no. Michael McDowell, a couple of finishes just outside the top 10, 12th and a 13th the last 2 years. So he could definitely squeeze in there and get a top 10. You look at Chris Buescher, a top 10 with an 8th place finish last year and a 21st the year before. So not sure really what to go with there. But we know that he traditionally just scores nothing but top 10s all the time. So that 21st place finish may have just been an anomaly. But I'll move on here. Kyle Larson, really good at road courses, but once again, has not had the finishes here at COTA. 14th last year, 29th the year before. Like I say, a lot of those could have been results from the green, white, checkered finishes where they just get dive bombed at turn one and spun around. You can easily go from a first to a 20th place finish in a situation like that. Kyle Busch came in second last year, right behind Reddick. Kind of protected him on those green, white checkers at the end. He left a cushion in between himself and Reddick and didn't allow, and that way if somebody was going to come in there and hammer him, he wasn't going to also take out Reddick. It was kind of cool the way he approached those finishes. But the year before he had a 28th, so not really sure what to expect from Kyle. Our drivers who have really excelled at this track. Tyler Reddick, as I said, a win last year and a 5th place the year before. Chastain, a 4th last year. 2 years ago, he won this race. Did so by beating and banging and knocking some people out of the way. Cindric, a 6th and a 10th, he's a guy who, once again, you really got to have the right style of road course for him. There are some that he really, really struggles on. This one he has done well on, like I said, a 6th and an 8th, so he's scored a couple of top 10s. Alex Bowman. Same sort of boat, not traditionally known as the best, one of the top road course guys, but he has scored a 3rd and a 2nd here the last 2 years. And even in that the rainstorm in that first year, I believe he scored a top 5 as well in that race. Chase Elliott. Obviously, last year he did not run in this race. He was out with a broken leg. I cannot remember the gentleman's name that jumped in the car. One of the Hendrick Garage 56, the guy there that was running that car, jumped in there and did a decent job. But the year before, Elliott was up there in the top 5, scored a 4th place finish. So I definitely expect him to be up there contending for the win on Sunday here this week. And then C. Bell, 31st last year. I believe he was one of the cars taken out in one of those green, white, checkered finishes. He was up near the front, if I remember correctly, and got spun out. And then a couple of years ago had a 3rd place finish. So those are the guys who I really look to be up there this year and continue their good runs here. AJ Allmendinger, He's an interesting guy at this track because he is really good at road courses, but has not had good finishes here in the Cup car. When he jumps into the Xfinity car, he has dominated. He's had a second, a first, and a first. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of differences between those two cars, and that may have something to do with it. Or maybe he's just run into some bad luck here in the Cup Series. I'm not sure exactly why he has not had those finishes. Now, there's two guys who I have not mentioned so far that I believe are going to be wild cards this week. Guys that don't have a lot of experience here in the Cup Series, but I believe they could make a splash and jump into the top 10 here this week. The first being an obvious one that I have not mentioned yet is Ty Gibbs. I mean, this guy's going to be a top 10 contender all season, I believe. Really looking to see him in the playoffs this year and making quite a run. The guy is super talented. He's dominated in everything that he's run up until he's been into the Cup Series and just kind of had a nice quiet season last year. He did run in the Cup Series last year in this race. Well, the whole season he ran Cup Series last year. He finished 9th last year, so top 10. And then also ran the Xfinity race here last year and scored a 3rd place finish. So he does have some talent on the road courses. And he actually started on the pole in the Xfinity race 2 years ago, but was unable to score a good finish, coming in 15th. So he does know how to get around this track and could certainly get a top 10 out of this weekend. I would actually expect to see him in the top 10. And this other name, here is my kind of deep dive of the weekend, where I went back and looked at some stats. And this one's going to come out of left field. People are not really going to probably agree with me on this one, but the name is Zane Smith with the Spire Motorsports. Rookie, you look at a rookie coming into a road course race in the Cup Series, not probably going to be expected to do very well. Although Ty Gibbs, like I said, last year he did get a 9th place finish. So here is what I'm looking at with Ty Gibbs. He's run the truck, or not Ty Gibbs, I'm sorry, Zane Smith. He has run the truck series the past few years, and this is the results that he has had at COTA. Last year, a win. The year before that, he won again. So back-to-back wins here at COTA, and they don't run a lot of road courses in the truck series. In the last 2 years, they ran five total road course races. Like I said, he had the 2 wins here at COTA. The other 3 races, he finished 2nd place in all 3 of them. So the guy really knows how to get around road courses very well. Will that transfer over to the Cup Series? That's to be seen. But he has really long odds, and so I just thought that was worth taking us a little bit of a dip into with the odds this week. So let's get to those. Obviously, Reddick is going to be top of the board. He's going to be everybody's favorite choice to win this race after the total domination last year. I am holding off until tomorrow morning before practice before I put in that bet, because usually Bet365, which is currently giving him the best odds, usually they have a booster, a 30% boost that they add onto there. So I'm looking to hopefully add that in there. But right now he is at plus 450 over on on Bet365. And that is the best odds that you can find him for right now. I should have jumped on him earlier in the week when he was at plus 500. I think he might have even been plus 550 at one of the tracks, or at one of the books. But My weeks are pretty full, so was unable to get to this earlier in the week. Elliott, I also have him as at plus 800 on FanDuel to win. I like Chastain and SVG also with a shot to win. Really, it's just the favorites in the book are, when it comes to the road courses, are usually the guys that are going to be up there contending for the win. Chastain, you can find him at plus 1,500 at MGM, and also at MGM you can get SVG at plus 1,200. I had to throw a little bit on SVG. Didn't really want to. Really thought he was going to be more of like a 10th to 12th place finisher. But then he goes out and just dominates in the practice and qualifying today for the Xfinity Series, which I didn't expect him to be able to beat Allmendinger there. Still don't expect him to beat him in the race tomorrow, but he just set a blistering pace in practice, and so and he does have some experience here at this track. You know, the reason that we all believe that he dominated and won that race at Chicago last year was because it was a brand new track that these guys had never run on a street course before, and so it was the first time for all of them going to this course, and so that's what really gave him the advantage and allowed him to beat those guys. But then he went and ran a road course later in the year, maybe Watkins Glen, I think, and scored 9th or 10th place finish somewhere in there, which was more like what we would really expect him to do. But after that practice today, I had to go ahead and add him in to my winner's circle of possibilities. Bowman, like I said, he's been in the top 5 all 3 races here. You can get him at plus 350 for a top 5. I usually don't like to dive into those bets too often, but for a road course, I really think you can go ahead and take those odds. Zane Smith, the one that I was saying that I really had some great truck series results. We'll see what he can do, but you can get him for a top 10 at plus 800 right now in MGM. Now, this is one where he has such high odds that if he goes out and runs top 10 in practice tomorrow morning, those odds are gone. That plus 800 could really get destroyed down to a plus 200 or 350. So if you want to take a shot at that, play alongside with me on that one, then you're definitely gonna want to get that one in before practice. Bowman also for a top 10 plus odds at Fanatics at plus 105. That one there, that's going to be my bank it bet of the week. I cannot believe it. I mean, you look around at other books, you might see him as low as minus 160, minus 170 for a top 10. To get him at plus money for a top 10 in this race, I had to jump all over that. Like I said, that is my bank it bet of the week. Moving on, another top 10, Busher. You can find him at FanDuel right now at plus 140. Excuse me. There are a couple of others that, I mean, if they have poor practices tomorrow, poor qualifying, their odds might improve. But McDowell, guys like McDowell and Cindric, and even Ty Gibbs, I think those guys are good top 10 bets, but I'm not willing to pay the juice of, minus 160, minus 170 on those guys. The books really have those guys dialed in. Here's a bet that I found that I really like because, like I said, Reddick is my favorite to win, as is most people. SVG as top Chevy. Doesn't even have to win the race. Basically, you're going to have to beat out Chastain, Elliott. Who else we got that's good Chevys? Kyle Larson could be up there. Not sure about Kyle Busch. Definitely a possibility though. But SVG for the top Chevy, you can find him at plus 550 at DraftKings. I really like that one. This next one is one that if you've followed along previous podcasts, you know that I do not like group betting. However, I still take a look at them, and I did find one this week that I really liked. Bowman, once again, I'm pretty high on Bowman this week. It was good to see him with a top finish last week, top Hendrick finish, coming in 4th place there at Bristol. Group D at Bet365, he is plus 250 over Hamlin, McDowell, and Buescher. None of those guys even have a top 5 at this track, and Bowman scored top 5s in all 3 races. So that one was really good odds for what I thought was, he is really, not just 1, but maybe 2 steps ahead of those other guys at this track. Some head-to-heads. There were no plus money head-to-heads this week, but there are a few that I like. Buescher over Hamlin at minus 105 at ESPN. Busch over Hamlin. It's road track. It's a fade Hamlin when it comes to road courses. Yes, he has gone out and set on the pole at a couple of the road courses lately, but he has not finished the race well. So Hamlin is one that I will be fading this week. Like I said, Buescher and Busch both. Busch to beat him, that's minus 120 at DraftKings. I don't mind giving up a little juice on head-to-heads if I really feel confident in them. Bowman, once again, this time to beat Cindric at minus 120 at MGM. Chastain to beat Suarez, minus 125 at DraftKings. And Christopher Bell to beat Truex. Truex, he has had some decent runs at road courses, not known as really a road course guy though. Bell to beat Truex, that's minus 125 at DraftKings as well. That's all I've got for this week. Not sure. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, the trucks. I already mentioned Xfinity a little bit. I do expect SVG to run up there near the top. I'm curious to look at the odds for everything tomorrow morning before the race. But when it comes to the Xfinity Series, it's AJ Allmendinger until somebody beats him. Okay, Kyle Larson, I think he'll run up there as well. But in the end, I expect AJ to take home another checkered flag at COTA here. The Truck Series race. Zane Smith has won the last 2, like I said, but he has moved on to the Cup Series. He is not going to be in that race this year. Cannot remember the gentleman's name who took the pole for that at this moment. But we had, like I said, we had Zane Smith running for Front Row Motorsports, has won the last 2. The first one was won by Todd Gilliland, also at Front Row. So I'm looking at who's running for Front Row now. Lane Riggs starting 7th, I believe. A rookie, once again, a rookie at a road course. Probably not the best one to look at, but hey, 3 in a row for Front Row. Maybe it's the truck. Maybe they really know how to set up a truck for road courses. And if that's so, and then maybe Lane Riggs can move his way up towards the front and take home a 4th in a row for Front Row. Otherwise, that's all I've got. Now, let's move on to our last and most favorite segment for everyone listening, watching. our guest picker, Miss Olivia. Are you ready to come on in?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Here she comes, folks. Climb on up here. Oh, we are at a road course. Yeah, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
We're at a road course this week, sweetheart. You know what that means? That means we turn right and left, not just left. We're not just going around in a circle anymore. We got to turn right and left. We got to make it all the way through a 3.5 mile track. So, I haven't mentioned a Mr. William Byron so far because he has not really finished that great at this road course. He did sit on the pole last year, and he did lead 28 laps. Oh, yes, he did. So what do you think? Is he going to be your pick once again this week? Yes, he is. You're going with William Byron again, huh? All righty. As expected, once again, William Byron. Will he be able to take home the checkered flag, or will Reddick repeat? We'll find out this weekend. Good luck with your bets, and go get that bag.
Bye.